Okay, friends, here are the pages that I made, and as you can see, they're kind of warped. I'm trying to think of the word, because they were wet. It's watercolor paper, but it's not completely flat, which is okay with me. That's what water paper color does. So I went back through and I thinned some white acrylic paint really thin and splattered these white polka dots on both sheets. There's not a lot, but that's how I ended up doing the little white polka dots on my sheets. So now I'm going to show you how I do the little doodle hearts. So the pens that I like to use, because they're water pigment liners, is either the Staedtler Pigment Liner 0.3 or the Micron 03, which is a Pigma archival ink. So this one right here is also pigment ink, and they don't bleed if they get wet. That's why I like to doodle with these markers, and they're really fine tipped. Can you see how tiny the tip of that pen is? If you prefer to do bigger, that's fine. I just like the really fine tipped pens. So I'm just going to randomly draw hearts on all of these papers. I'll probably just do a few to show you, to give you an idea of what you can do. This one is the heavier card or watercolor paper. This is the thinner. This one's going to be harder to cut out, to fussy cut my hearts. And I use, these are close to my heart scissors, and they are super fine point detail. See how tiny? You can snip, super detailed. These are what I use when I fussy cut, like whether I'm fussy cutting scissor or stickers or this type of project. I like these really fine detailed scissors from Close to My Heart. I'm a Close to My Heart maker, and I'll post a link below the video so you can get some more information. I will also post a link for the different watercolors that I used for this project. I'm going to do the heavier paper first and just do a few little heart doodles so you can kind of see what I like to do. There'll be different sizes. I never use a pencil and pre-sketch. I just doodle. I always like to double line everything I do and kind of make it wonky looking. You do all kinds of little hearts. I like adding little stitches. These are fun to just throw some in an envelope with a letter you're sending or a card you're sending out. They're also fun just to add to like journaling pages, planner pages, whatever. I have a little bowl sitting here on my desk that I keep random little things that I've made. So see, here's some hearts I made last year. I didn't realize I still had a couple little hearts in here. Need to get busy and make some more berries and stuff. I made a bunch of leaves during the fall. So I just make a bunch, cut them up and throw them in this little bowl. So whenever I need a little something, there it is on my desktop. Sometimes the little polka dots don't make their way into a heart. Okay, what else do I want to do here? I also make different sizes. This one's going to have some tiny little polka dots, black ones with it. I'm going to make kind of a lacy edge on this one. See how I'm just doing little loops along that whole edge. I like doing this midday because I have 2 big windows in my craft room that offers really nice natural light. So I don't have to use any lighting when I'm doing a video. I do have my overhead light, but I don't have to add lighting to my photos. You do see shadowing, but it's not as bad as when I have to do added lighting. Added lighting from above always, in my opinion, causes not so fun shadows while trying to film. Okay, what can I do now? Let's do a... This is just so much better, in my opinion, to just lay down some color first instead of going back in and filling hearts that you draw with color. You don't know what you're getting, but it's just easier to me, and you don't risk the possibility of your black pen bleeding, because even though these are pigment markers, on rare occasions, different type of pens or markers do bleed. And the black bleeds into the paint, and it's not fun when that happens. Aren't those fun? All those little hearts of various sizes. I'm adding some interior doodles to some of these, but honestly, I prefer just the more basic hearts where you can see the fun little polka dots. Could you hear my stomach growling? It's just making some noise, which is kind of funny because I just had a little snack. And I should not be making noises. I've been out of town traveling for the last 4 weeks. It's been a long time, and we just got home a couple days ago, and let me tell you, I loved our trip. We had a lot of fun. We saw lots of things through Utah, into New Mexico, into Colorado, and into Texas. The landscaping is so different in all the different places, and we really loved it. A month is a little bit too long for me. But I really need to figure out the whole traveling food thing because I ate way too much junk. And when I travel, I have travelers stomach, digestion, whatever you want to call it. I have travel issues anyway. Every time I travel, even if it's a 2-day trip. I don't know what it is, if it's just, I don't know why I do. So top that off with eating junk. Ugh. I just really need to figure it out. A better way to plan food and eat healthier without junk. I know it's easier to just stop and grab a sandwich or a wrap or chips or whatever. And we did eat healthy dinners because I meal planned a little bit. But when you're out and about, sometimes it's easier just to grab something or go to a restaurant. And we, in Texas, we tried so many things. Like we went to this barbecue place and it's called Yo Daddy's Barbecue. And they had specials, a different special. Oh my gosh. It was like so good. I had like pulled pork, baked potato. Things like that, which isn't like my normal eating. I rarely eat potatoes or pastas or that type of thing, or fried foods like French fries and stuff. So anyway, probably part of the reason that I get my travel stomach issues, but I gotta figure it out. So this week I've been really watching what I eat and trying to get back on the normal path of food that I'm eating and away from the junk. One of the other things I tried in Texas, they're called kolaches. I have never heard of that in my life. And they're everywhere. Every single place you go has them. Every single gas station has them. That's the other thing in Texas. All the gas stations have these big, instead of just having hot dogs and burgers, they have this big section of like Mexican food that you can get your beans and rice and tacos and enchiladas and whatever at the gas station. You just order it and they fill up like a to-go container with all of this food. That was really interesting to me. And they were always busy. A lot of people would stop and fill up on their food. We went to a Mexican restaurant, Tex-Mex, I guess is what you'd call it, in Port Aransas, and it had the best stars, and it kind of from the outside looked like a big barn, and it had like a big horse on the roof, a model of a horse. And I'm like, oh, I need to stop here and take a picture to send to my granddaughters, because two of my granddaughters are obsessed with horses. We walked in middle of the day, afternoon. It was probably 2 o'clock, and they were still really busy. And hanging on the wall across from us was a picture of Jesus. And I told my husband, I'm like, when was the last time you went into a restaurant and saw a picture of Jesus in the restaurant that you're going to eat? Anyway, their food, the way they did their refried beans, I mean, everything was totally different than what you get in Idaho. Don't get me wrong, I like the Idaho Mexican food, but this was so good. Just everything was so good. Their tortilla, chips and salsa was different. So good. Anyway, That's my conversation as I'm drawing little hearts for you. Food, all because my stomach's making noises here while I'm drawing hearts. I really hope that this is helping you see how I create and make these fun little things. It's so much easier just to do a sheet of them and cut them out. I don't do just one, obviously. If you know Michelle, you know I'm super organized and efficient. I am a time saver. I don't like wasting time. It's a big pet peeve of mine, although I realize that you can't stress out over time, and I need to give myself time also. But if there's a faster, more efficient way to do something, believe me, I will figure it out. The less you touch something, the more you get done. And it's really weird because I was at, where was I? I wish I knew where I was. I'm trying to think of what it was. It was some kind of, oh, I know where it was. It was last summer when I was at GNR, the Grand National Rally for Winnebago. There was this lady in this class that I took, and we were talking about being organized and efficient and how you do things inside your RVs to save time and space. And this lady told me that being efficient is lazy. And I looked at her and I'm like, what? She's a school teacher, by the way, an elementary school teacher. And I'm like, what do you mean it's lazy? She goes, I've always been taught that people that are efficient are just lazy because they don't like to do stuff. So they figure out ways so that they don't have to do stuff. And I'm like, what? I said, in my career, being efficient was like a pot of gold because you figured out how to get more work done, and the upper management loved it. If you're efficient, you're more productive and don't waste time, aka time theft. So I just thought it was very interesting. Her perception of being efficient meant being lazy. And I think when I explained to her about time management and time theft and being productive, it kind of opened her eyes too. So I think we kind of helped each other with that little bit of conversation on being efficient and organized. What do you think about the little hearts? These are pretty close together here. I think I'm only going to do a few more for you, but I think you get the hang of it, what I'm doing. My hearts are super basic. I could add some little stripes if I wanted. Stripes are fun too, but I prefer a little more basic. So I'm going to do those, put it aside, and grab this other piece of paper and do a few on it. So you can see a little bit difference with the type of paints. These were the, let me grab the sheet. Remember this sheet that I did in the first video? These are the Luminart colors on this sheet here. I use Luminart colors. And on this sheet, I used the Prima Paint Pastel Dreams for this little teeny section. And then I used the Stamp Market watercolors on these bottom. And And look how bright and vibrant these are. I love these. I love these because, I don't know if you can tell, but they shimmer. They have kind of a gold shimmer to the paint. But man, these are my faves. I just love them so much. And let me tell you, pinks are it. The blushy pinks, the bright pinks, the corally pinks. I've always loved pinks. Pinks aren't like my favorite choice as far as home decor and stuff like that, but when it comes to crafty goodness, pinks are it for me. They're just so fun. But what do you think? Do you like the softness of the watercolor and all the little doodling things you can do? Because when you do it this way, there is no two hearts the same. They are totally different because of the way the watercolors lay down and the way you draw your little hearts. Aren't they fun? See how this one's a little darker, but if I go over here, it's got lighter and... Oh, my phone's ringing. I'll be back. Okay, I had to get that phone call because my hubby's out running errands today, and who knows what he needed. So when I'm doodling, there's different hearts. You can tell I most of my hearts look the same, but I kind of like doing these like whiter floppy wing hearts. I don't know what you call them. Floppy wing hearts. How does that sound? Where they're just a little spread out. So I'm making a couple of those. If you don't feel confident just drawing hearts, you sure can get a really, really light pencil. Like light, do not be heavy-handed with your pencil. In other words, just do it light. And sketch some little hearts. But I'm telling you that doodling is messy. There is no such thing as perfection when you're a doodler. You get what you get when you doodle. So just go for it. I tell you, just go for it and have some fun with your doodling. Like, see this? I mixed this up a little with a little pink and red in this heart. This one right here, who knows what this one's going to look like, but I'm just going to do it anyway. It's going to have a mix of whatever. So what I want you to do, here's your assignment, is just get a piece of watercolor paper. It's cheap on Amazon, Michael's, Joann's, Hobby Lobby, whatever. I never buy expensive watercolor paper unless I have somebody that wants me to paint something for them. Then, of course, I'm going to put it on a better quality paper. But for this kind of stuff and all my crazy doodling stuff, I'm cheap. I am cheap. Because most of it's for me, most of it's for fun. Sometimes I throw it away. Yeah, don't freak out because I tell you I throw stuff away, but I can't keep it all. I just can't keep it all. I'm going to show you this little thing that I did yesterday. I cut out a tiny piece and I just doodled these little hearts all around and lettered a little bit in the middle. Isn't that fun? This isn't even watercolor paper. It's just thin paper, but it's fun. I just did that yesterday. So the other thing I do is I get either, this is the Signo, Uniball Signo. It's white ink. They make these in silver and gold also. Adding white is the best. And these are Jelly Roll 05 Sakura little pens. They just don't work as good, but they're okay. White pens in general don't work very well. They dry up and they're just, see how light that is? Can you see that white ink on there? It barely shows up on that heart. It's getting a little darker as it dries, but this pen here, I'm just going to do a little polka dots. Can you see those polka dots on there? This one shows up so much better. And I just like to add some squiggly, some random little squiggles on some of the hearts. They probably will barely show up on this light pink, so I'm not even going to bother. Just write really slow so the ink flows. And it just adds some more fun things to the heart. You can polka dot a few more little dots if you didn't get enough white dots on there if you want. You could use any colors of pen. I've got some more gel pens here somewhere. Okay, here's a drawer, some gel pens, and let me see what I got in here. This is a metallic gel pen. Does it tell me the color? It's kind of a, let's see. I could even do little use some little gel pens. See that? Isn't that fun? And add a few more little, I'm the polka dot queen. I love making polka dots and squiggles. So that is also an option. I almost always just use black and white, but the gel pen thing is kind of fun. This is the Jelly Roll versus metallic. This is a little brighter, see that? And it's also kind of metallic, but I'm hoping you can see that on there. So there's all kinds of things you can do. So I'm going to go through and do that to a bunch of these. I don't think this will show up very well on these. It might. It does. Look at that. I just added polka dots to that heart. Fun, fun, fun. I'm going to show you the white on this one because it'll probably show up really good. I tell you, white pens are like super fussy and they just don't. I don't know what it is with the white ink, why it's so different than other colors of ink, but it just is. Anyway, that's what I do. I'm gonna off camera finish a bunch more hearts and then I'll film some fussy cutting so you can see part of that process too. Okay, take 3. I've been fussy cutting and didn't realize that everything is out of focus up here because the camera is focusing on all of this down here. I've cut these apart because I've been working on it, but you can see how I've added different colors of inks. and outlined the hearts and finished them up. And I want to share fussy cutting with you, so I'm going to move these out of the way so that you can see what I'm working on. These are all the ones that I fussy cut that were out of focus. Quite a few of them. It's a handful of all these fun little hearts. But what I wanted to show you is how when you blotch down your watercolor first, you get such a variety of paint on the hearts that you would never get if you doodled the heart first and then painted. See that? See the different colors? Hopefully this is focused so you can see. Look at that one. This splotchy hearts. Anyway, there's a bunch of them here that I've already fussy cut, but I want to show you how I fussy cut. So I'm going to pick these up, get them out of the way so it'll focus on my fussy cutting. This is the heavier watercolor paper. Hear that? It's heavy, and it's not as easy to fussy cut. So I'm going to cut a couple out. I turn the image as I'm cutting, not my scissors. Sometimes I move my scissors, but mostly move my image. I like having an edge around each little heart that I'm cutting. Okay, let's do these fun little ones here. I gotta set these aside because it's trying to focus when I have them down there instead of on what I'm doing. I'm probably going to add my second video after this video because I had a whole conversation with you. Even though it's going to be kind of out of focus, you can see what I'm doing and how easy it is to fussy cut. A couple pink ones. This is still the heavier watercolor paper. Move that out of the way so it'll focus. It's weird how the camera does that. You'd think it would focus on what's in front of it closer, not the background. See how I'm turning the heart, not my scissors. I just start there and just snip down and move the heart. And look at those colors. See how those fun colors? Okay, what's it focusing? Crazy camera. Okay, so now I'm going to grab this sheet. It's a lighter paper. I think I'll do a couple of the pink hearts. Show you how much easier the lighter color paper is to fussy cut. because I've already done like 2 dozen of them. I'm not going to do a bunch more. You can watch the fuzzy film. It's just a lot easier to fussy cut thinner watercolor paper, which is what I use most of the time. You can go to any craft store or Amazon and buy a lighter weight watercolor paper. You can get smooth or textured. Just get a pad of it. You could probably buy a pad with, I don't even know, 25 to 50 sheets for probably $10, the cheap stuff. I'm just guessing. I don't know. It's been a while. So here we are. Fussy cut hearts. Hearts that you can throw in as confetti, decorate, add to projects, do whatever you want with it. But anyway, they're super fun, and I really hope that you make something. See ya. Okay, so I just recorded for like 20 minutes and realized that it really didn't record because the Amazon guy came and my ring must have shut off the recording. I showed you all these pretty papers before I cut them up so you could see how I finished all the doodly hearts. And then I started fussy cutting them. So I fussy cut all of these fun little hearts. See how cool they look? All these fun little hearts. I'm going to throw these in the pile, and I'm going to fussy cut a few more for you so you can see what I'm doing. This is the thick watercolor paper, and it is not as easy to cut as the thinner. Listen. Can you hear that the thick paper sound? I drew this heart just a little bit too close to the other one, so the top edge is nicked a little bit. You know what? That's okay. You can really see the white. If it is it in focus? I don't know what it's focusing on. So when I fussy cut, I try to turn the paper around my scissors. It's just easier to move the paper than the scissors. These are the best scissors. I have several pair. I keep a pair in my kitchen, a pair in my garage with my workspace, a pair in the RV. I have probably 4 or 5 pairs here in my craft room, so that I have one on each table. I have my table, and then I have a long desk. So I have them both places, and then if I have anyone over here crafting with me or grandkids, they have their own pair, and I don't have to share my pair or wait. I've just got them in easy reach. Some people can fussy cut with big scissors. I prefer small detail scissors. See that heart? Okay, let's see. I'm going to cut couple more here. Then I'm going to get the thinner paper and show you. I'm standing while I'm cutting these so I can try to see if you can see what I'm doing. Can you see that shimmer? I have my red Aspen nails on today. I love wearing them, but I have a really hard time doing anything when I wear them because they're too long. I buy the short nails and trim them shorter because otherwise I would break them off and I literally cannot do anything. I play the organ at church, and so I absolutely cannot wear them the weeks that I'm going to play the organ, which is usually every other week, or it kind of depends on traveling schedules on what weeks I play. But I have wide nail beds, and so it's hard for me to get them wide enough. And these are short and they're trimmed. I literally trim, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch maybe off the edge of each nail because they're too long. They're literally, even though they're the short ones, too long. I'd probably buy the petite, except they're not wide enough for my nail beds. Today, I put these on yesterday, and today I broke both my thumbs just doing a few chores around the house. So I trimmed the thumbs off, made them a little shorter so they don't stick out at all. So they're short now, which I prefer, but I like the look of them, and they're all trimmed barely over the tips of my fingers. I'm going to be taking them off in a few days because I play the organ next week, and I'm going to have to start practicing the music, and I cannot play with nails on my fingers. It's impossible to do anything. It's a miracle that I can fussy cut with them and paint, etc. So that's the heavier paper. All of this is heavier paper. I'm not gonna do all of these on camera, but I wanted to show you that the thinner paper is so much easier to fussy cut. I would cut out smaller pieces because it's easier. See how much? It's like butter. I can just fussy cut quick. I love hearts. I put hearts on everything. If you follow me, you know that I doodle hearts in my planner. I doodle hearts in my journals, in my grateful journal. I love hearts. You don't have to do hearts. It's just Valentine next week, so I thought hearts would be fun. I also like to do flowers in this all summer, all year, sunflower, summer color flowers, whatever. I love to do strawberries. In the fall, I love to do leaves. It's just fun to blotch down some watercolor, doodle on it, and then fussy cut for fun little things to just throw in a letter, a card you're going to send somebody. Look at this. If I were to draw the heart first, I would not get this effect when I watercolored it after the fact. That's why I like to blotch down watercolor first and then draw on it because you get such a unique coloring blend doing it that way. But like I said, when I fussy cut, I turn the paper as I go. See, there's another one of those unique color blotches. Here's one that's a little bit darker. You can probably see a little better. This tiny little heart. Anyway, you can pass these out in a Valentine, in a card, add them to your planner, add them to art journaling, add them to anything. Just keep them in a little bowl on your desk so you can look at them and be happy every time you see them. I always have a little bowl of fodder. Some people call it fodder. That's a new term for me, fodder. Never heard of fodder. F-O-D-D-E-R. But evidently it's just little bits and pieces of crafty goodies. Fodder. See that? See those colors of red with the white ink and the various colors? Here's one that I added like little stripes on the heart. When I fussy cut, I like to leave a tiny bit of an edge. I don't like to cut up against the black. I do the same when I cut out stickers I print out. I like the little bit of edge around the design. Fun. Fun, fun, fun. Some of these don't have a whole lot of stuff on them. They're pretty basic. And that is okay too. After the fact, when I'm done fussy cutting and I go to throw it as confetti in something, I may add a tiny bit more to it, or I may not. So this is fussy cutting. I hope that you guys learned something, and I hope that you get creative and try it. It really is fun. It doesn't have to be perfect. Again, doodling is not perfect. Being artistic is not perfect. Perfect is probably like a computer-generated object that isn't hand-drawn, and I prefer hand drawing. I'm always drawn to the hand-created items other than perfect images. So I'm going to grab a handful of these hearts. Look how many I still have. I have all of this page to cut out, and I have these. Here's more of the red tones. I have a lot more to cut out. And turn on a show and get to fussy cutting. But I want to show you all of these fun little hearts that I've been fussy cutting so far today. Throw them in my little bowl here. They're just so fun and so many different sizes. I know I've sent a few of my little watercolored images to some of my crafty friends in the Crafty Me group, the Fussing Cutting Cuties. So a few of my crafty friends have gotten some of my little doodly watercolors. See all the different sizes? They're just so fun. You can fill a handmade card in the inside. It's like little confetti. Anyway, Lots of designs, shapes, colors. They're just a lot of fun. I'd really like to hear from you in the comments what you think and what you want to create too. See you guys later. Happy crafting.